years ago, if you wanted a small electric car to take on your local city, there was pretty much no options other than the kind of toy car looking vehicles. Nowadays though, that's changed. We have the Dacia Spring, which is extraordinarily good value. Then we also have the Hyundai Inster, and now this, the Citroën C3. And as we know, the C3 has been around for decades and has always been a family favourite, and now available in fully electric form, we're going to see what it's like to live with. So let's start by talking about prices and specs. And the good news is they start at €23,400, and that's whether you go for the all-electric or the petrol. There is a hybrid, but that's about €3,000 more expensive, so we'll ignore that. Personally, I'd actually recommend the electric. I think it's the one to go where it makes sense for a car that drives around town. Moving on to the specifications, there is a Plus and a Max. There's €2,000 roughly in the difference. And what do you get from going from the Plus to the Max? You get some rear tinted windows, you get heated seats and a few other optional extras. My advice actually is to visit a local dealer. You can find out where your local Citroën dealer is up there, and they can explain all the little nitty gritty differences. However, as a whole, I'd say the Plus is plenty, but it might be worth forking out to a little over 25 grand and going for the Max. So one quite cool thing that we mentioned is that whether you go petrol or electric, it's the same price. Now, let's talk about those engines a little bit more in depth. So the petrol is 100 brake horsepower. It's a 1.2 litre, 3-cylinder and a manual gearbox. So if you like an old-fashioned manual gearbox, that's probably the one to go for. Then there's also this electric one. It's 113 brake horsepower, 44 kilowatt hour battery. What that means in range is about 320 kilometers, which should be perfect for what this car is intended for, which is driving around town. However, if you're still not sure which one to go for there is a hybrid. Now it's an extra 3 grand above the two, the petrol and the electric. Could be worth going for, however, I personally would say go for the electric. It's kind of what this car is designed for, and I think it works absolutely superbly. Now when it comes to driving the EC3, I've actually driven the regular C3 and I quite like the manual gearbox. Yes, the 3-cylinder is a little bit diesel-esque in the way that it vibrates, but overall I do quite enjoy it. However, as I've kind of said throughout this video, I think driving the electric version just makes more sense in 2025. So overall, it's really good. That 113 brake horsepower is responsive, particularly at lower speeds, but it's not going to blow your jocks off like a normal electric car would. But it's not designed to either. It's also a beautiful size. Now, a couple things, because this week I have had the luxury of driving it around town, but also going on a longer spin down the motorway. Now, what I'll say is the moment this goes on the motorway, you can forget your 320 kilometers. I actually think you'd be doing well to get 220. It is not designed for motorway spins. However, around town, it's very efficient, and you actually could get close to that 320. That said, on the motorway, it's actually pretty well equipped. It's got cruise control, not adaptive, but cruise control. It's got lane assist, the seat's really comfortable. Even the way you can place your hand down here is very Skoda diesel mile muncher-esque, which I quite like. And additionally, it has two very important buttons, which is just down here to turn off speed recognition signs, which around town is great, and also your lane assist. They're two things that I turn off pretty much every time I get in the car, and they just make life so much more pleasant not hearing the binging and bonging. So overall, it is a pretty nice car to drive. For the person who's looking for a car like this, it should do the job. There's good space in the back, big boot, and it's a nice size, as we said, around town. I will say this week it's been about 28, 29 degrees some days, and I have found the AC pretty weak. Even on its strongest, coldest form, I found it takes a while to really cool down the cabin. But other than that, it has been excellent to drive and should serve a perfect purpose for the person looking to buy it. So as a whole, I think the new Citroën C3 is perfect for someone who wants to jot around town, and actually personally, I'd recommend going for the electric one, particularly when it is the same price. Realistically, 320 kilometers is going to be more than enough. Driving with an automatic gearbox around town is going to be fantastic, and I don't think you need to bother going for the hybrid. However, let me know in the comments what you go for, and if you would like to search for Citroëns for sale in Ireland, then hit the link up there. But that's it for now. We'll see you in the next one.